Oh. 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 Sairam, everyone. We'll just recollect what we discussed last week briefly, and then we will continue. As you all would remember, Swami is telling us that the Mahabharata is nothing but what goes on, but the war which goes on in our own hearts. And he says the end goal, or the goal which we all have to reach, is where our good qualities and the bad qualities merge and become one. And we discuss how it can be done. Bad qualities can be transmuted into good qualities, and together we merge with the divine to become qualityless. And when that happens, the war continues. War does not continue anymore, and it does not become. Our heart is no more a war ground. It will be full of peace, shanti. That's what Swami says, and that's the end goal. With those thoughts, I thought we will continue from where we left off. Side.
Bhaktar, can we not avoid the battle altogether? Swami, why not? Kings develop the spirit of war because they have confidence in their subjects. The subjects encourage the rulers to unleash the hounds of war. Delusions are the subjects who push the individual into battle. When there is a paucity of such subjects, war too will not be waged. So divest yourself of such subjects as delusions, illusions, feelings of I and mine, and then you can be at peace, enjoying undisturbed Shanti, my boy. You can go now. Wait, let me tell you one thing. Entertaining doubts of all kinds is also a delusion, vyamoha. Strive to be free from even this trait. Well, go and come sometime later.
Thank you very much. So I don't think I should dwell on this too much myself. Swami has used the word vyamoha. Moha is delusion, but vyamoha is spreading of delusion, you can say, a multiplication of that delusion. The delusion reaches everything. So the word vyamoha is very significant. So Swami says when that happens, that's when the war takes place. And Swami has told, if we don't have that, there's no war. And that Shanti, Swami basically summarizes what he has been trying to teach us in this lesson, is what I can understand. So I will pause and stop here, and I will open it up for all of you to share your thoughts, please. Saira.
Brother Sairam, Swami is nicely saying that entertaining doubts also is a delusion, right? So that delusion will exist for some time until we realize it. So that's why Swami is answering. This is my understanding on this. Thank you, Sairam.
Thank you, sister. Thank you. Anyone else would like to share any thought or comment?
Just to clarify the metaphor that Swami is using, the king, is that referring to like the real I?
That's my understanding, sister, but I will ask others to share their thoughts as well. So, I guess I think because we have discussed it so well and so much, I think there's no comment here. But as Sister Aruna pointed out, the Swami wants us to free ourselves from these questions and doubts also. He says that also can cause challenges. So I think I thought I would just touch upon that. That is a very good point. So if there's, I will just pause for 10 seconds. If there's any question or comments, please share. Otherwise, we will move on. So,
Just about that sentence about the delusions, but the doubts. But sometimes asking these questions and bringing up these doubts is what helps us like understand better and grow. So I guess there's a limit. You mean, is that what Swami's saying? Like,
so, so I will again open it up for others to share their thoughts. So how do we deal with, I think the question you have is, when we don't understand, we have to ask questions. But if these, Swami is saying, so these doubts also is a problem. So I think I will again open it up for any discussion of what others take from this side.
So, Saram, brother, so my understanding is too many doubts is not good. If we have faith, then why the doubts supposed to come? The answer is supposed to come within the doubts if you have faith. So then if you have to, the doubts comes, you cannot concentrate or you cannot focus anything. So whatever we know, we have to move on that one. Too many doubts is not good. That's what my understanding. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much.
Sairam, my understanding, the term doubts is different from searching for knowledge or searching for knowledge or the eager to expand our knowledge. So in this particular context, Swami is referring to for anything, everything, you don't have doubts, maybe this Sister Kalyani's understanding, maybe she's thinking that maybe, for every little thing, we ask question, what is this? What is that? Why is that? So those things should be differentiated from the doubts. That could be interpreted as searching for knowledge or the interpretation or something. Maybe that's my understanding, that the term doubts here is the just even for little things, the having doubts, that sort of understanding. Maybe we have to differentiate what is really a doubt, what is our search for the search or expansion for having the knowledge. That sort of understanding I am having on this one. Thank you, Saira.
So I will, what I will do is I will, before others comment on it, I will just read the Telugu version, because the way Swami has said, it's much more meaningful. Swami says, Velira means go and come. Urike Sandehamalu Pattukonuttaku Kuda Oka Vyamohame. This is what Swami says. Urike Sandehamalu means without any reason having these questions and doubts is also a tendency of Vyamoha or delusion. So I think what Swami says is, don't ask questions for the sake of asking questions. There should be some purpose. there should be something which, if we ask for something, then we should be able to practice. So otherwise, you are just asking for the sake of asking. That's the way Swami is saying. So just don't entertain doubt for the sake of the query. Urke, and Tamil will say summa. Summa, don't ask. Okay. So Swami says everything should have a certain purpose. And why, if say, for example, if you want to buy a car or something like that, you can just go around to every car showroom and ask all sorts of questions. We will never have a car, we will never drive a car. Okay. But if you go and ask for the sake of, you have certain needs, you go ask, match it, and then buy the car. And at some point, you can't say, I want to know everything about this car, and stand outside and keep on asking questions. You will never buy the car. So I think it applies to everything in life. When people get married, when people have a job, when you want to take a course, always at some point you should say, enough of questions. Now I should just plunge in. Okay, so Swami says, don't ask questions for the sake of asking. Okay, see, you should understand that Swami is the one who is asking the questions and Swami is giving the answers to. So he knows the tendency of the students. So he's saying sometimes the students go on this spree of asking a lot of questions and doubts. They want to be very clear of all doubts. He says that will not happen. So so I thought I'll just touch up on that. I don't think that comes through in the translation very clear. Anyone else, please?
Sairam, so Das and Anandi and yourself and everybody has put their facts. Everything is factful. So, brother, you know that you were telling one in one of your interviews about Samsyatma Vinastari. Can you please repeat that 2 sentences, 18 letter words? Samsyatma Vinastari, no?
I think Swami uses, there are 2 8-letter mantras.
8 letter, yeah.
Okay, one is Shraddhavan Labhate Jnanam. One you have Shraddha, that dedicated pursuit of anything will attain Jnanam.
Yeah.
That is one. Then on the other side, Swami says, Samshyatma Vinashyati. Yeah. The one who has doubts will perish.
Perish, yeah.
So these were some 2 8-letter mantras Swami said. We always should so our goal should be to be in between those two. You should not have doubts on one side, and you should have Shraddha on the other side. And then Swami says you will be safe.
Yeah. So to say, so when we have strong faith and very intense faith on the Guru's wordings or Veda's wordings, we have to just believe it and putting question again and again to how can Baba say like this or how can Veda say like this? That cannot be done. That is wrong. So and some say Atma. So who the Atma who is doubting? So if you doubt always, so how can Veda say like this? How can Guru say like this? So as Brother Dasan said, when we have faith in God or Guru and everything, we try to understand to come round and round and try to understand what is there. So here in this study circle, and we see people who are very new to the terminology, and some people are young and some people are new to subject. So they have a lot of questions and they are welcomed actually. They are welcomed. But as brother said nicely, asking question for the sake of asking and finding fault in the wording, and that is what not encouraged. So here, of course, most of us faithful and sincere, and yeah, that is what it is meant. So always, even whether the God is there or not, that is a doubt for If Sai Baba is really God or just an like a jnani, who knows like a jnani, or this one, he knows he is omniscient and omnipotent, omnipresent. We learn the story and then we doubt whether he really knows that. Those are the things that will kill us. Perish, we will perish. So so that is the clear thing here, and I stop with this. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you, brothers. Thank you.
So Sairam brother, I'd like to add one more thing. Even the study circle, or if you're learning any gurus, whatever you all said, don't ask the question sake of the question, and don't try to test the guru. So in that way, you are not going to learn anything. So always respect, and all the questions, whatever we are here in study circle ask, all welcome and everything. And we also learning from that one. So that is my point too. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, brother. Thank you.
All gave the good answers. I add something to that. Yeah, Swami says that if you have any question, you can ask, but not unnecessary questions. But if you don't have any gurus or no one person that any person can give you answer, you don't have anyone, you can ask the God. No, Swami, you can directly put your questions to God. He will give the guidance or give the answer anywhere. You will get it. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, brother.
I also want to shed one point here, like that the book itself is Sandeha Nivarini. That's the whole purpose of this study circle and the book that we are reading, discussing is to remove that whatever the doubts that we have. That's the reason Swami, on his first set of questions in this book, he's answering it himself, saying, "I want earnest inquiry with a desire to know." That is the most important thing that we have to consider, that to desire to know things. So, say for instance, when a child asks so many questions to their parents, dad or mom, they ask so many questions with the desire to know. It is not that the child is not just testing the parents whether they have the knowledge, but desire to know. That is the main concept that I think we have to take it into consideration when we are discussing this one. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much.
Aram, brother. Just I wanted to add to Brother Arul's point of view is the intention of the question also very, very important. If that person is asking for to clarify something, that's fine. But the other thing is when you don't need to question if you understand, right? If there is a small mistake and but the other person trying to say something like that, even just leave it and go. Kind of Swami says, like that's my understanding. Swami is trying to say to keep away from this kind of doubts and try to inquire yourself and be like content like that only. That Sandeha you shouldn't have Sandeham. When you have a doubt, that's itself you are not content. So that's one of the things is coming to my mind. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, sister.
Sairam,
also,
back at,
Sister Anandi, you go ahead, please.
Sairam, back in the Gurukulam, maybe the years and years they would learn all of these. So step by step, they would be imparting their knowledge from the Guru. That's why maybe those setup is different from the current setup we are coming for this study circle. Maybe different knowledge, the people with a different level of knowledge coming for this study circle. That's why the Brother Arul nicely said that. I also exactly the same point I thought about that one, because Swami made this question and answers, because many people, they would have asked Swami all these questions. That's why in my personal view also, maybe a reasonable question, if someone asked maybe we have to accommodate those questions regardless of maybe 50% of the people, they have very in-depth knowledge in these subjects, maybe 50% or 30% may not be that sort of knowledge. So we have to have the balancing perspective. Of course, I agree with, if someone wants to test the knowledge of the the facilitators or gurus, or they just want to ask some questions, that's not acceptable. But the reasonable question, of course, should be accommodated. Thank you, Saira.
Okay, Brother Arun, you have something to add?
Okay, I also want to add one more point. Like I come up with this, brothers and sisters. You mentioned a great point. Like, but the Guru says we simply have to obey that. That should be our attitude. We should be questioning the Guru's why kind of thing. But why I say this is one of those satsang. He was the student. He was in this hostel, and he has been going to Nagara Sangeetan every day, but that particular day he didn't go. Then Swami came there to the hostel and was asking questions. Did you go to the Nagara Sangeetan? Then he was that particular day, unfortunately, he couldn't make it. So he said, Swami, I couldn't go. Then why should I go? Like he was asking, why should I go? Swami said, I said so. That is simple as that. When Swami says something, there is a reason. Like one of those brothers mentioned it, maybe we will realize it later in the day or later in the time. But when Swami says it, we have to accept as a mantra, as a guidance, and whatever it is, we have to take it. That's simple as that. We shouldn't be questioning Swami. That in a context of why. That's also another point that I thought of bringing it here. Thank you, Saira.
Sairam, brother Arul said, I listened to somebody, brother, I don't know, others can remember, some students was doubting about Supravadam, singing Supravadam in the morning. So Baba said, Supravadam is important. Everybody should follow that. Then it so occurred that Baba, I think Baba put the question or something like that. And the Baba gave the answer, Supravadam is important because I am saying important. That's what Baba said. Supravadam is important because I am saying it is important. And the students just followed it. So the certain things we don't know, but the reason behind it. And later on, Brother said, later on we will realize it. So something like that. And also, as I said before, the Samsyatma Vinastadi is doubting Thomas. So sometimes we ourselves question the omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent of Sai. So that is, we have arrived at so quickly that he is beyond all comprehension of ours. Like that, something like that. That is very important as it looks everywhere. Thank you, Saira.
Sairam, brother. Thank you. So if everyone is okay, we will proceed further.
Can I just clarify one small thing where Swami says, so divest yourself of such subjects as delusion, illusion, feelings of I and mine. So I think, so delusion is attachment, right? Moha. And then the feelings of I and my are ahamkaram and mamakaram. And the illusions, what is that? Is that, yeah, just wondering what the illusions are referring to.
Maybe moha, maya, ahankaram, and mamakaram, maybe.
Swami has used only 3 words. I'll just go back to Kana, Mudata, Vyamohamulu, Mamakara, Ahankaramulu, Lekunda, Chesikonna, Shantiga, Undavachi. So basically, Swami is just telling Vyamoha, which you said is attachment, which is basically delusion. Delusion is that thinking that the body is something else, taking something to be something else is being deluded, or attachment also, which comes as a result of that. And then Swami goes further and explains it as ahankara mamakara. Okay, so it is, you can say it is synonymous. Swami is telling that that's the way we can experience this vyamoha. Okay, Swami saying vyamoha mulu, mamakara ahankara mulu. So he's giving 2 ways of explaining, but I understand. So it's not anything different. That's my understanding. I will ask anyone else, somebody.
Brother, usually the moha is denoted by delusion, as sister also said. An illusion, maya. We put the word, English word for maya is illusion. So illusion, can you please confirm these 2? That's the terminology, brother?
See, the thing is, in English we translate it. Maya means that which does not exist. Ya, ma, maya, Swami says. Ya means that which, ma does not exist, is maya.
Yeah.
See, I think if you take the rope example, so if we mistake a rope to be snake.
Yeah.
Okay, the mistake that the rope is snake is delusion.
Illusion, no?
Delusion. Mistaking the rope for a snake is delusion. But what is illusion is the snake. Snake doesn't exist.
Yeah, you're correct. Yeah.
So the act of thinking something is something else is delusion. That something else which does not exist is illusion.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay, so they are related, but it is just that the different aspects of it. So Maya is that which does not exist.
Yeah.
Delusion is thinking that which does not exist to be real.
Yeah.
Okay, that is so.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good. So there is significant. There is a difference. Difference means illusion is totally non-existent.
So, for example, is a mirage. Mirage is an illusion, isn't
it? Illusion. Yeah.
Thinking that the mirage is water is delusion.
Delusion. Yeah. Because in the war, Arjuna had a delusion, moha, delusion. So because of his thinking himself as the body and everything, and relatives, parents, like that, he's deluded. But as Brother Vimasan said, the mirage is illusion. It is not at all existing illusion. So the I and mine are illusion, because everything belongs to God only. Who is I and who is mine? So the I and mine are illusions. It does not exist actually, but we think it is existing, but it is not existing. But the confusing us is the delusion. Yeah. Thank you, Saira.
So what is this world is then? Is an illusion or the delusion?
No. Delusion is moham, that Arjuna had it in the battlefield.
Yeah.
Because he was thinking that he's going to kill everybody, but no one can be killed actually. So out of attachment he had a moha, delusion. But illusion, of course, maya. But that the non-existing thing. If somebody says the horse has 2 horns, it is illusion, because the horse does not have horns. So, like what Brother Vimalasan said, that mirage. So it looks like water, but it is totally not non-existent. So the I and mine are non-existent actually. Actually, I and mine are non-existent. And brother explained the rope, no? The rope. Let me tell the rope story. So in the dim light, a person looks, there's a piece of rope actually, but who is in the dim light, he thinks it is snake. So the snake is illusion because it is not there. Actually, rope is there. So thinking that there is a snake is illusion, Maya. But the confusion in this mind to take it as snake, the confusion in the mind is delusion. So the mind in the illusion, delusion works in the mind. That's what brother explained it. Yeah, thank you, sir.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Okay, shall we proceed then? Okay, we can.
Chapter 13. Bhakta. Swami, last time you spoke of the Mahabharata war. In the same manner, does the Ramayana also happen in everyone's heart? Swami, undoubtedly. It does take place systematically and in the same sequence. Bhakta. Then in what form does Rama come in this? Swami. The Atma is Rama. He has come in the character of Jivi, wearing the dress called body.
So, I think it's pretty.
Brother, what is Swami trying to say about the systematically and the same sequence? Thank you.
Swami, in Telugu, Swami says, Tappaka jaruguchune it continues to take place. Unnadi means it is taking place, continuously taking place. That's all he say. But I don't know why systematically in the same sequence is put there. Swami says it's taking place continuously.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you, Saira.
In Tamil, if I don't know, most Tamil cycles have just said, "Nadadu one day irukku." That's all, it's continuing to taking place. Yes, sir. So just to in the character of GB and the dress whole body, I will in Telugu Swami says, Swami has used the word Vesham. Here it's taken as character, which basically people shouldn't think. The character is a word which is used in many ways. Vesha means in the garb, you can say, or taking on the role of in a play. Okay, or you put in on a facade or whatever you want to call it. You put on a costume, and then he says, Dehamani Vastram. He's wearing the cloth called body. Wearing the body, the cloth of body, he has taken on the garb of Jivi and Ka. The Atma Rama is the real Rama. So that's what Rama is. Okay, so we can move. Maybe we'll read further, little further than. Pardon, brother, you have something to say, anyone? Okay, we read the next slide also, then we'll continue.
Bhakta. Then being a Sankalpa Siddha, whose will prevails, and being omnipotent, who is all-powerful, why does he suffer so much? Swami. It is all play, his leela, sport. What can be joy for him? And what can be suffering for him? He is Ananda Swarupa, embodiment of bliss, who knows neither. By his will, he can produce everything. He has enacted the Ramayana on the stage of the theater of the world, with himself taking a role and showing each quality or guna as a separate form. Such a Ramayana is taking place in every heart. The Rama in the heart, the Atma Rama, is observing everything as witness.
So, so I will, there are some things which are not necessarily fully translated. So I will just, if you don't mind, I will just read the Telugu version and go, because Leela Natakame Kani, Leela Nataka means it's just a play, divine play. Kashtamu Sukame means there's where is difficulties, where is joy. ఈ రెండు లేని ఆనంద స్వరూపుడవు. So he is Ananda Swarupa. తన మాయా సంకల్పముచే, with his the Maya Sankalpa means Maya itself is part of the Lord. With that, Sarvamunu Srishtinchunu, Sarvamunu Layamanchu. He creates everything and he destroys everything, or he makes everything merge in him. So those are two which Swami, didn't seem to be translated. So I thought I would just mention. And the rest seems to be okay. So I will stop here and we can discuss the previous slide and the slide. Swami says Rama is the richer witness.
Can you just translate the word Sankalpa Siddha?
Okay. So you want the translation of Sankalpa Siddha?
Right, what does that word mean?
I think we discussed, in one study circle, Sankalpa means your wish or thought. Siddha means that will fructify, that will, you will attain it. So when Rama is someone who can attain every thought of his, there be nothing which will come in his way. Why should he suffer? That's the question. When a person can achieve everything that person thinks, why should he suffer? That's the question. If basically if he's God, he can. Then Swami says answers there.
Sairam, I think it's good to note that point that usually I think even Hislop once asked when Swami was explaining like this allegorical meaning of Mahabharata or Ramayana, and he said, he asked whether that really happened, and also it has this allegorical meaning. And Swami, I think Swami said just for that. So that's a difference. Usually mythological stories were like Kanda Puranam, we know the Saiva Siddhanta philosophy is allegorically told as Kanda Puranam used to be told. For mythological stories, it's mostly these allegories. But Mahabharata and Ramayana, and Swami has also confirmed that it's both, as is allegorical as well as historical, but it's not pure history. It's between mythology and it's neither history nor mythology, but it has some historical this thing. It happened. the itikasa, the meaning, it's the word meaning of the word itikasa itself is it happened like that or something. So it has both these things. That's what Swami is explaining. I thought it's good to know that. Sairam.
Thank you very much, brother.
Sairam, so in this note, I would like to observe this one. Rama Avatar and Krishna Avatar happened actually, as brother admitted, brother Millicent said, it happened. So now Sri and Sathya Sai. But the story, everything happened actually. The only the names of the characters, and the Ravana had 10 heads, so that is the allegorical part, figurative. So we go Tasendriya, so represent Tasendriya. So the name was given and the form was given to by the authors, say for Mahabharata by Vyasa and Ramayana by Valmiki. They so selected the names to denote meaningful meaning. Other than that, that we can believe everything happened. Everything happened because even we see millions of miracles in million way. The Bhagawan has done and has been doing even now. So nothing is impossible. So everything was possible, and only the major difference is the names and sometimes the forms like Ravana was so selected for people who are not literate to understand. So we have to take the story as it is, as they are, as much as possible. That's what I just feel it. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, brother.
For example, Jadayu was helped by Rama because Jadayu, he put water in the Jadayu's mouth, and this. I believe it because nothing is not, even the monkey is helping. So can the monkeys help Rama? We might doubt it, but these are those days. It can very well happen, everything. So you have to take that way too. Thank you, sir.
So, Sairam brother, so Mahabharata and Ramayana, both like a movie, but it's really happened. But here, both places he took the role as a witness only. So, and he was teaching us the good part, the quality and gunas, how we have to handle those kind of things. And yeah, that's all I can tell, Saira.
Sairam.
And also, Saira. So Bhagawan, Sai Baba, when the elephant passed away, he shed tears profusely. And we see it in the video. Like a small baby is crying, unable to tell whatever he is thinking. So he really feel it and cry it. But we say it is Leela, okay, but is it Leela? It may be Leela, but it really, he is feeling and shedding cries, tears, for to make us understand what is love and what is separation, and the genuineness of the elephant must be brought out. So not only in other places also Bhagavan cries. Even the students are singing, in the Trai sessions, and when students sing, he shed tears. So these are natural, and this is the real human feeling. So we should be able to cry and shed tears when there is necessary in the places. But we don't shed tears because we don't have that simplicity and the sincerity. So whenever the Narayana meaning is that shedding tears from Ayana. So it is like I don't know what to say, but it is very for teaching the people in the right way. The Leelas, Bhagavan comes in the form of people. Thank you, Zaira.
Sairam, on the same line, Brother Sivatha said, I would like to say that, no, even when we were in the Prashanti, I mean, in the Sai Kulwandol Kerala group or someone, I think in 2010, they stage a play where Bharata goes and asks Rama to come back and all that. It was very extremely good, and Swami obviously became very emotional. And I remember once Kalyani asked, he is God and he is beyond all this, how can he emotional like that? So as Brother Sivadas said, it might be teaching to others, or it might be, and also genuine feeling, but we have to uh, see the contrast also. But I remember read in Satyam Sundaram or somewhere, when I think when one of his sister or someone passed away, the news was conveyed to him. Professor Kasturi was there. Anyone correct me? That's
Brother,
my
I think brother.
So, and Kasturi asked Swami, you heard this news, and still you are like nothing happened or something like that. And Swami's reply was, without death, how is my sort of, I forgot the exact words. Death is a time passing or hobby sort of thing. So you so this all we had to no, there's teaching in everything, and he is definitely beyond all this. But for the sake of, as Brother Arno said, Rama, or Swami saying he is his advent is all the, so same thing with Swami. So we had to see all the aspects and see we must be able to have the insight to see all the Saira.
Saira, anyone else would like to comment? Share any thoughts?
Just in the first line, there's where it says, what can be joy for him and what can be suffering? He is Ananda Swarupa, embodiment of bliss. Is joy the appropriate translation for sukha? Or because I feel like joy, like embodiment of bliss and being joyful kind of go together.
So sukha is not necessarily, joy may not be the best translation in English. Sukha is a state of comfort, you can say, when there's no difficulty, or the opposite of kashta. When someone is you meet difficulty, or you are without any difficulty, you are comfortable. So Rama supposed to have encountered. So Swami is telling he's Ananda Swarupa. So I think we should talk. I think the topic of crying because I think we that's the question itself. So we will discuss that, because why did Swami cry? Why did Rama cry? These are the questions people will ask. See, there are two types of crying, okay, which we ourselves do, we don't realize. Most times human beings cry out of what's called self-pity. Self-pity is, I lost something. For example, if we have lived with somebody and that person dies, we cry. Everyone cries. Why? It's like a child, some toy is broken, it will cry. Why? Because the child does not have the toy. So if somebody has left our life, we cry, or that person has gone away. Okay, which is nothing but self-pity. The crying, the symptom is one. Crying as a symptom is one. But then then when you see somebody suffering, you can cry. That is out of compassion also somebody can cry. Then when somebody has done something so nice and it touches our heart, also we cry. That's called Ananda, the tears of Ananda.
Yes.
So when Rama cried, we'll just talk about Rama and maybe we can just touch upon what Swami also. See, when Rama cried for Sita, when Sita was abducted, he was shed tears because Sita will be suffering. The untold suffering which Sita will go through. So it's out of sheer compassion that he cried, not out of self-pity or I lost my wife. It was not because of Mamakar or Ahakar. Because that is a proof, he did again later. When he said you have to go through Agni Pariksha. He said later on, somebody said, now she has to be sent to the forest. So you can see a person like Rama who was able to even send the wife away because that is what required for the welfare of the country, has mastery over that attachment. So he is never attached. Same thing with Swami. Swami is touched. If there is devotion welling in the devotee, the Lord also cries. The devotee also cries, the Lord also cries. Sometimes Swami did something, we can't stop crying because the joy is immense. So the tears, the symptoms may be the same, but the cause is what we have to understand, and the cause can be evaluated by proper understanding and reasoning. It's like a doctor, if you say, doctor, I have fever, give me this medicine. You will say, okay, what is the cause? Is it maybe some inflammation, or maybe just the body, body is reacting to temporarily. So that has to be avoided, understood. So it's the same thing with crying or expression of emotion. What is the cause of that emotion? We need to see. Externally, we may think, oh, he is also crying just like, so that is sometimes we think because we bring down the Lord to the human form, human level of reaction. So we have to see, again, Mother Ishwarama passed away in 1972. Summer course was supposed to start. In the same building, Mother passed away. He said, yeah, take her and take in the car. And Swami was giving talks. So, okay. So the thing is, didn't he have love for his mother? Of course he had love for her. But the thing is, the Lord reacts to the devotion in a much profounder way, number one, and he will show emotion. When he sees the devotee suffering, then also he will be touched out of compassion. And that's why they say in many of the Namavalis for Mother, Shiva and all, they say the eyes are filled with tears, ready to shed. So always, apparently, if you look at their eyes, they will be filled with water because of sheer compassion and sheer joy when the child is doing well. So I will stop here. So because the topic of crying and this came, and if Rama is Ananda Swarupa, why did he cry? He cried genuinely as a human being, again, as Brother Sweta said. These are emotions and qualities we should cultivate. Compassion and joy. Both of them will be very, very emotional. And just talk about this, I don't know, it's slight digression. So whenever Swami comes to Sai Gita, elephant was talked about. Sai Gita will be, so excited. She will urinate every time when the Lord comes.
Okay.
So once in front of our hostel, Swami had come. Swami was coming, and after a few weeks, Swami had come. So she was so excited. She came and she was, trumpeting a lot. And then Swami went near and she said, "Oh, Sai Gita, calm down, calm down." And she was urinating. And there were a lot of students who ran close. And, they saw this urine splashing everywhere. So they moved back. But whereas Swami stood there and his robe was wet with that. Then he turned to the students and said, "Hey, if you drink a little bit of that urine, you will get at least a small portion of that devotion she has for you." These were his words. So why did she urinate? Because at that moment, the entire body will actually relax. So that this is natural. She will cry, she will urinate, everything. So I thought I would just mention that. So he always reacted to that devotion in a manner, one cannot understand what it is. Saira. I'm sorry for talking too much, but I could. Saira. Shall we?
Can I just ask a sort of unrelated question, just based on Sai Gita, I guess? Like, can you only attain moksha from a human form?
That is what Swami has said. See, in the path of evolution, the human form is considered the closest to the Lord. The form, because all the faculties are in its complete blossom. So if you want to go somewhere, you have to come to a stage where you are ready to merge. You asked about Sai Gita. I think Swami have actually mentioned here there. We ourselves discussed, Swami himself discussed this topic because you asked about it. I thought I will mention. The Swami told about the story of Jada Bharata. I think we came, he needed.
Yeah.
So in the case of Jada Bharata, what happened? As he was a great rishi, but then he got attached to that small deer. So because he had to be born as a deer, and while being a deer, he realized, no, this is not what it is. But then he had to be born as a human being before he can complete this journey. Okay, that's why the form of human form and the quality which we have brought us very close to divinity in its full essence. So it's like if you're going somewhere, you have to go to the doorstep from where you can enter the. So that's even if it's a short while, people are supposed to be born as human beings before they shed that. Okay, that's my understanding, based on what Swami has told in a few places and this side.
The Swami said that Sai Gita will be born next birth as a human too. Am I right?
I have not heard, but I have heard that that's what Swami has told from people who are reliable. Okay, shall we move on?
Bhakta, but the inert material Jada, the Jivi, how does it enter into this Ramayana? Swami, this Jada accepts the active Chaitanya, viz. The knowledge of Brahman. Chaitanya is born with the name of Sita. The Jada Chaitanya become one. This is referred to as Sita Rama. So long as the Jada and the Chaitanya are one, there is no trouble and no suffering. It is the separation of one of these two that gives rise to all the bother. Bhakta, how is that, Swami? Swami, Sita, who is Brahmajnana, goes away from the Atma, which is in the form of the Jiva. Hence, falling into the darkness or the jungle is inevitable. Rama has acted in this way to show us this. If Sita, or Brahmajnana, is allowed to be lost, one cannot escape the wandering about in the jungle of darkness.
Thank you very much, sister. I would, the translation of the first section of what Swami is in the English version is not necessarily very accurate. I will just, I think the second response, answer of Swami, is clearer. So I will just go back to the first one. The translation says this Jada accepts the active Chaitanya, namely the knowledge of Brahman. But Swami says, "E Jadamu Brahma Jnanamunu Chaitanyamunu Varinchinu. So what Swami says is, this jada, this inert thing, Brahma Jnanamunu Chaitanyamunu Varinchinu. It basically, it joins or it marries or it weds to Brahma Jnana and Chaitanya. So Swami has brought in three things. One is jada, which is inert. Then the concept of Brahma Jnana. Then he has brought out the concept of Chaitanya. Then he says, Brahma Jnana Chaitanya me Sita anu peruta puttinadi. So that Brahma Jnana Chaitanya. So the Brahma Jnana and the Chaitanya have born as together. That's as one entity is born as Sita with the name of Sita. So I thought that is, I just want that Apudu e Jada Chaitanyamulu Okkadiga Ekamagunu. So that then Swami says, then the Jada and Chaitanya become one. So the intermediate stage is called Brahmajnana, as you can see. So the Jada, when it first takes on Brahmajnana, and then it merges, it joins the Chaitanya, it becomes one. So I thought I would just clarify, just elaborate on that a little bit. If you go down to the second one, Swami says, Sita, who is the Brahmajnana, goes away from Atma, which is Chaitanya. So that becomes clear in the second section. Okay, so I will just stop there and we can discuss it. Anyone else would like to share? Brother Sivadas, your mic is muted.
Okay. So in short, the Atma is Chaitanya, which is Rama. So the real Rama is Chaitanya. But here in this avatar, he is acting as a Jivi, he is representing us. So Rama is representing us. So suppose I am taking myself, I am Jivi. If I lose Brahmanyanam, then I will have to suffer. That means if I don't have the real knowledge of Atma and everything, I will be suffering. I will get mixed up in moha and everything. So if I have the Brahmanyana with me intact, with my inner Atma, then I am happy. I will be perfectly blissful and I am okay. Even though body is there, I am okay because my inside Atma has Brahmanyana with it, the knowledge of the Atma. So here Sita representing Brahmanyana. So the Jivi Rama, they were together, husband and wife. So when they were together, no worries. So the Chaitanyam and Brahmanyanam were together as a couple and they had no worries. When the Brahmanyana goes away, then Rama is not happy. So the Rama is wandering in the world, wandering in the forest, thirsting for Brahmanyana, where is Brahmanyana? So once Brahmanyana comes back, then he comes back to normal. So some things, some sort of this, I wanted to share it, in case. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, brothers. Thank you. Anyone else would like to share any thoughts, please?
Well, Sairam brother, here the nicely explained that Atma So Sat Chit Anand. When we have Sat, here the Swami is explaining like a Jiva. Sat and Jnana together will give you Sachidananda, Ananda, bliss. So if the Jnana is not there, so there won't be bliss. So the Jnana is very, very important. That's what Swami is comparing to Sita. When Sita is not there, so there won't be bliss or happiness in the life. So Rama has to look for Sita. Thank you, Saira.
Yeah, that's very good. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you very much.
Sai Ram, I have a question here. The Bhakta is asking a question, but the inert material jada, the GV, how does that? I didn't understand that part. The inert material jada, is that the GV? Inert material jada? Sai Ram.
Yeah. You know that here the
I'll just read the Telugu version and then we'll. అయితే జీవి రూపుడైన జడము ఏ రీతిగా రామాయణములో ప్రవేశించును. So he's saying జీవి రూపుడైన జడం. So there is the jada aspect which is in the form of the జీవి. So that's the way it is, Swami. Jivi Rupudaina Jadam. The Jada in the form of the Jivi, how does it end? Is the question. So I thought I've just. In that material Jada, the Jivi, it says, no. It is the Jada material which is in the form of Jivi. It's a better translation. So I thought I'll just stop there.
Brother,
Thank
please.
you very much.
Can you please say it again?
So Swami says, the Jada in the form of the Jivi, the inert material which is in the form of the Jivi, which has become the Jivi. So I would say, for example, in this world there is so many inert material. But Swami says, even if earlier on in the Sandeha Nivarini, Swami has said, even the Buddhi is Jada.
Yeah.
See, even if we have Buddhi, it is Jadam.
Yeah.
So what actually makes it alive is Chaitanya.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
The Atman is the one which makes us alive. But if that is separated, it becomes an inert material which is not functional.
Yeah.
So earlier on itself, Swami has said, even to all our faculties which we think we are is all Jadam actually. The Chaitanyam alone is the source of everything. So the Jivi is basically a person who thinks all this Jada, which is actually energized by the Chaitanyam, is separate from the Chaitanya.
Yeah.
That is the concept of Jivi.
Yeah,
so
that's
we identify ourselves with all this thing which is inert, forgetting the Atman, which is the Chaitanya. So I hope that answers. So there's a subtle, slight, that doesn't come through in the translation. Is my point. So
yeah. Brother, can we temporarily put this way, temporarily, that the Brahmanyana, because knowledge, it's knowledge. It's Jada. It's a part of Jada for now. So only Chaitanya is Rama. It is Chaitanya Rama. So the Brahma Jnanam is not the actual final. So Chaitanya is the final. So the Brahma Jnanam is an aspect of Jada. So that's what that worded here, and you also, I think, agree to that part, I think.
So I will give another example, brother, because this might the way I understand. If we take a bulb, the bulb is capable of emitting light. Okay, but can the bulb by itself emit light? No. It has, the electricity has to flow through it. So if the bulb, which is the Brahmajnana, is not connected to the Chaitanya, the Lord, it cannot emit light and there will be darkness.
Yeah.
So the bulb is actually jada, but it's capable of emitting light.
Yeah.
So Brahmajnana itself is actually jada.
Yeah.
In the absence of Chaitanya, it is of no value.
Yeah.
There's one darkness.
Perfect.
So,
yeah.
So I thought I would just.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, that's what Brother Arul had that question. Everybody can have that doubt.
That's why even if you have knowledge, we have the best of intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
If that is not connected to the divinity,
Mm-hmm.
it is of no use.
Yeah.
So that's it.
So when Swami says though Jada joins or marries Brahmajnana and Chaitanya, doesn't that make it seem that it's separate from Jada?
So okay, so again, yeah, I understand, because jada means anything inert. But generally, inert also, there are varieties of jada, inert material in this world. Yes, the soil is also jada. The soil is inert. But you as a human being is slightly different. The same material atoms are there in each also. So that is the evolution. We were talking about animals, can they become? So that even if it's soil, even if it's an amoeba, there's progression or evolution to become a human being. Okay, so the jada in the best of in that evolution, it reaches the stage of Brahmajnana. Okay, we have all kinds of knowledge, worldly knowledge. That's also jnana. We discuss about jnana, vijnana, and all. So Brahmajnana is the pinnacle of evolution of jada.
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
And when it comes to that stage, it has to again marry with the Chaitanya to bring out the best. Okay, so any jada is not bulb, So you had to create the bulb, which is also actually inert. It's made of inert material, but at least we have done a lot of work to get you to the point of bulb. Can we connect the soil to the electricity and get the light? No, we cannot. So Brahmajnana is the process. All of us, what we are going through is getting our mind to that state of Brahmajnana to understand the divinity. But once you understand it, once we connect, then there will be brightness. So this is my understanding. I hope I answered that question.
So, Sairam brother, in Gayatri Mantra also, we have Pu, Puva, Swaha. Swami is nicely explaining Pu means jada or your body, what you think. What is others think is the life or prana. So that is a vibration.
Mm-hmm.
So Atma. So once you come to the other one, is the one radiation. That's a prajnana.
Prajnana. Yeah.
Thank you, Sairam brother.
Sairam, brother, Sairam. That's why, Sita herself is supposed to have been born from the earth. Okay, so that itself, the symbolism is also so nice.
Yeah.
Okay, shall we move on to the next? We'll just read the next slide. I think we will not discuss. It's already 10:15. I realize. We'll just read it, and then we will. Once we start discussing, I think another half an hour will go. But we'll just read it, and we can take it for contemplation for the week, and then we can come back and discuss.
Bhakta, if that is so, what is the reason, Swami, for this Lakshmana to always be with him? In our life, what does he stand for? Swami, one should not be alone in the jungle of life. One should have the manas ever by one's side. It is for this that Lakshmana is kept always near. Bhakta, in the Ramayana, Vali and Sugriva are described. Who are they? Swami, when wandering in the jungle, one gets despair when one should get discrimination. They have vengeful hatred of each other. Vali, who is despair, has to be destroyed. Then only can success come. Despair is Vali. Discrimination is Sugriva.
Okay, thank you very much, sister. So I think it's food for thought for everyone for 1 week to contemplate. I will just point out one thing in this translation. Swami has used the word Dinatva for Vali in Telugu. Dinatva means some sort of weakness. I think the word which is used here is despair. Dina means one who is powerless, weak, who is weak with something, weakened by something. That is the state of Dinatva. Okay, it means he does not have access to any resources, physical, mental, or spiritual. That state, I would say, is Dinatva. Sugriva is properly translated as Viveka is discrimination. So Viveka and Dinatva is what Swami has used. I think those words I will just leave. You all can meditate, think, contemplate. I think that will help the process. So for 1 week, I guess, and then we will get back next week to continue where we left off. Okay, so with those words, we will close today's study circle with the Samasta Loka and Shanti. Sai. Om Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sairam, everyone.
Thank you, Sairam.
I am.